Hi, this is Cheryl, and welcome to my stamping classroom. Today we're going to make this fun shaker Valentine's card. This card is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 square, and it is a shaker card. It's very easy to make, and it will delight anybody who receives it. So let's get started. The supplies you will need are real red cardstock cut at 8 1/2 by 4 1/4, scored at 4 1/4, a scrap of real red cut 3 by 3, designer series paper called Sweet Talk cut at 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, Whisper basic white 4 by 4 for the inside of the card, another piece 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and a strip of 1/2 by 4. And you'll need 2 window sheets cut 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. Other things that you will need are adhesive strips, some adhesive, liquid glue, and also the bouquet of love dies. I used the heart and the flower, the small flower, and the leaf to decorate my heart with. I also used Sweet Conversation stamp set. I used the Happy Valentine's Day and the Happy to Have You in My Life, plus a heart and the XO to decorate the envelope. So let's get started stamping. I want to first stamp the inside of the card and the banner that goes on the front of the card. To save time, I have already stamped these images, and I've also added a stamped heart, and I cut out a little heart from the Sweet Talk designer series paper and adhered it. So let's set these aside for right now. So let's now work on the shaker card, or the shaker part of the card. You're going to take the 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 basic white. You are also going to need these punches. This is called the Heart Bundle Punch Set. It's in the annual catalog. There's a scallop heart and a smooth heart, and the smooth heart fits inside the scallop heart. So we're going to take the smooth heart and we're going to push it in as far as we can and center it on the piece of paper and punch it. You can save the punched out heart for another project. Then we're going to take the 3 by 3 scrap of real red paper and we're going to create the scallop frame. First, I take the smooth heart and punch out a heart, and then you take the scalloped heart and you fit that around the smooth heart. It's slightly larger, and just center it, and when it's perfect, punch it. So now we have our scallop frame. I'm going to take my silicone sheet and the scallop frame, and I'm going to use my Tombow liquid glue and just put small dots all the way around it. The reason I use liquid glue is that it does not dry immediately, so it allows you to move your paper a little bit so that you can get it lined up correctly. And since this is such a narrow piece of paper, it comes in handy to do that. So now we're going to put on the first window sheet. I'm going to turn this over. Well, first I'm going to use a used dryer sheet. This serves two purposes, one to remove the fingerprints and the other to remove the static. Now I'm going to turn over the card, and I'm going to use adhesive and kind of outline the heart with the adhesive. I'm then going to place this adhesive sheet, or the window sheet, directly over it. Okay, next I'm going to take the foam adhesive strips. This comes in a larger package, but I cut it in half because it's easier to use. So you're going to need 2 of these strips, and they're very bendable, and all you do is just outline the heart image with the foam strip, getting as close to the edge as possible without going over. You will have to trim a little bit off of the end of this, but save that little piece because we will be using it later. Okay, take your second adhesive strip and put on the other side of the heart. Now, the important thing to remember here is that when you are using 2 adhesive strips, make sure that they are butted up right against each other because you don't want your sequins leaking out. And just be the boss here. Make sure it goes around the heart and that it meets up exactly with the bottom part, and trim. Okay, the next thing is that I used some sequins. I used the subtle shimmer sequins that was found in the winter catalog. I'm also wiping the inside again to remove the static and also to get rid of some of the sticky on the side of the strips so that sequins don't stick. So I used the subtle shimmer sequins found in the winter catalog, and all you do is just take a pinch, and they're kind of flyaway, so be very careful with them. I also used the gingerbread and peppermint acrylic shapes because this gave some weight to it. Also, they're in red and white, and it makes a little louder shaker sound. Now, you don't have to use these sequins. You can use any color sequence that we have in our annual catalog. And it just takes a few. It just takes a pinch. Then carefully remove the backing from the adhesive strips, and then you're going to take the second window sheet, and again you're going to wipe it to get rid of the static and the fingerprints, and you're going to place this directly on top of those adhesive strips. So now you have your shaker card. Now some of them may stick a little bit, but that's okay. Now you're going to take your designer series paper, and we are going to adhere the shaker part to the designer series paper. But because we use the adhesive strips around the heart, it's lifted up a little higher, so we can't use regular dimensionals. We have to use the adhesive strips. And I'm using the scraps that were left over, and I'm just placing them in the corner of the cardstock. These adhesive strips come in very handy. They are higher than a regular dimensional, so if you really want to pop something up, use the adhesive strips. They're very economical and they're easy to use. You can either cut or you can tear them with your finger. Okay, we just have a couple of more strips to put on here. And once everything is on here, I just need one more little piece. So now once everything is on here, we can remove the backing from the strips. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell if the backing's off. You can feel it with your fingers to see if it's sticky or not. Okay, now you can center this on your designer series paper. Since the shaker is encapsulated, it's much easier to center this on the paper. Okay, next we're going to take our base card and fold it in half. And I'm shaking things up just a little bit. We're going to open the card from the bottom to the top. And I got a little bit of glue on the front of it because of my silicone sheet. But just take an adhesive eraser and remove them. Okay, so now we're going to adhere this to the front. I'm using my liquid glue. This is kind of heavy, so you need a strong adhesive to put this onto the front of your card. Just line it up and hold it down for a few seconds until it sets. Now we're going to put in the inside of the card, which we had previously stamped. Again, using liquid glue. And place that on the inside of your card. Okay, now we're going to decorate the outside of it. First of all, I'm going to take the banner that we stamped that says Happy Valentine's Day, and I'm going to trim the ends. I'm just doing angle cuts on either side. I'm going to adhere this with some adhesive just in the middle because it kind of hangs off the card a little bit, and place that in the upper left hand corner. Then I'm going to take the heart and we're going to decorate that with the Blushing Bride flower and the Granny Apple green leaf. Now there is a right and wrong side to these die cuts, so make sure you have the correct side facing up. Okay, now I'm going to put the leaf on first, on the heart, and then the Blushing Bride flower. I'm going to adhere the heart with some dimensionals, 2 dimensionals I'm going to put on the back of it. I don't want them too terribly high because this is going to overlap the window of the card, and just place that in the lower right hand corner. To finish it off, I'm going to use our basic pearl jewels. Take one of the small pearls and place it in the center of the flower. And your card is now complete. But of course now we need to do the envelope. It's not complete until we decorate the envelope. So I'm going to use some real red ink, and I'm using the heart that is in the Sweet Conversation stamp set, and then the X and the O, which is also in that stamp set, I'm putting it on the back flap of the card. So now your card is complete with a nicely decorated envelope. I hope you enjoyed today's project, and I hope you make lots of these cards. They're very easy and fun to make. The instructions and the recipe for this card is on my blog. Thanks for stopping by today, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. Bye.